Hey, yo, 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 yo. This is Mr. G coming at you live. We're going to talk about more equations. So this is part 2 of 1.2. Key terms, solution of an equation, variable, all review key terms, but get the definitions down, please. And we're just going to move on past it and get to some examples. So you're going to have to solve equations that have that have fractions. Now, there are, like we've talked about in the previous video, like we talked about before, there are always different ways to solve equations. So what we could do here is you could just keep the fractions and solve it like a normal equation. I could add 2/5 to both sides, and I could divide by 2/3. Fractions don't really actually change the process. Fractions still represent a value, just like an integer does. So all the steps for solving equations are the same. However, if we don't like doing operations with fractions, then you can get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the lowest common multiple. So here's what I mean by that. Is I want to cancel out my denominators. So what I want to do is I want to multiply by something that they both have in common. That'll make them go away. So 3 times 5 is 15. So 15 would be a common multiple. So what I could do is I can multiply by these guys by 15. But if I decide to multiply by 15, I have to multiply everything by 15. And if you think about this, this is 15 over 1. So when I multiply fractions, we can cross-simplify. 1 and 2 have nothing in common. I mean, we can't simplify that anymore because there's a 1 here. But 3 and 15 have a 3 in common. I can divide by 3, and that becomes a 5. 5 and 15, divide by 5, this becomes a 3. And there's nothing to simplify here. Now, I still have to actually do the multiplication. This is what people forget to do. So this is now a 5. I'm still multiplying. So I have to do 5 times 2 to make this 10y. I have to do 2 times 3 to make this minus 6. And then I actually need to do the 15 times 5, which is 75. Now I have a nice, easy 2-step equation without any fractions, since fractions freak us out, and I can just solve it from here. Okay, when I divide by 10, I will get y equals 81 over 10. That's all the way simplified, or 8.1. Okay, so try this one. Yes, I have multiple variables now, but that doesn't change the process at all. I mean, I have the same variable, but I have it twice. Doesn't change anything. I have 3 different fractions, so we want to find the lowest common multiple, multiply by everything. So try it out on your own if you'd like, and just see how you do. See if you got this. So I'm looking for the lowest common multiple. Like if I were to multiply all these by 9, 9 would go away, 3 would go away, but if I multiply this by 9 over here, this would not simplify all the way. I'd be able to divide it by 3, but that would just make this 2 and 3. I still have a denominator, which means I still have a fraction. So multiplying by 9 would not work. So that's when I look at the factors of 9, 9, 18, I'm sorry, multiples of 9, 9, 18. So 18 would work. I'm going to multiply everything by 18. Multiply by 18, multiply by 18, multiply by 18. A lot of multiplication by 18, right? But it's going to work. It's going to cancel out all my fractions. So 6 and 18, that becomes 1 and 3. 3 times 5, that becomes 15x. 3 and 18, well, 3 goes in 18 6 times. That's just plus 6. 2 times 18 is 36. That's minus 36. 9 goes into 18 twice. 2 times x is minus 2x. And all that's equal to 18. So we actually didn't get rid of anything. We didn't simplify anything. This is just a different way of writing the equation after I multiply every single piece in the equation by 18. And then from here, I solve by combining like terms first is what I'm going to do. I got 13x, positive 6, negative 36 makes negative 30. All of that's equal to 18. I'm going to add 30 to both sides. Gives me 13x equals 48. Divided by 13. And there's my final answer. I'm done. 48 over 13. I actually don't know what that is as a decimal. I don't have a calculator on hand, so we're just going to leave it like that. All right. You'll also have decimals. Decimals, again, you have two choices. You can just work. Decimals aren't quite as intimidating to some people, so you can still work with the decimals if you like. So you can just add 1.1 to both sides, divided by 0.12 or 0.12. That works. Okay. Or what you could do is you could get rid of the decimal by multiplying. But when we multiply, we would multiply by either 10, 100, 1,000. And when we multiply, it just moves the decimal over the same amount of times. So very similar to with a fraction, but now we're just actually just moving the decimal. We don't have to do any calculations. So I want to figure out what's the most I have to move my decimal in order to get rid of it. So I have to move this decimal over twice to get rid of it. So that's what I'm going to do. That's multiplying by 100. So if I move this one over twice to get rid of it, that makes it 12x. But now I have to move this one over twice. That makes this 110. And I can move this one over twice. That makes this 250. Now again, if you want to just work with the decimals, you're more than welcome to work with the decimals. It truly does not matter. This is just a way to get rid of it, to make it all whole numbers, and that's that. Add 110 to both sides, I get 360 divided by 12. X equals 30. That was it. Okay, try this one on your own. Let me see if I have any more. I don't think I do. Okay, try this one on your own. See how you do. If you're confused by the parentheses, when we multiply, you only have to multiply outside the parentheses. You do not multiply inside the parentheses when you move stuff around, just so you know. So pause it, try it, see how you do. Okay. So again, a lot of decimals here. I'm going to move it over twice because that's how many times I got to move over to get rid of the decimal in both of these situations. Now, as I just mentioned though, because when we multiply, we do have to multiply every single term. However, when I multiply like this by, because I'm multiplying by 100 to move it over twice, when I multiply this value by 100, this is still going to multiply here. So that's also going to multiply everything inside here by this 100 as well. So you do not, because it's distributive property right here, you do not need to multiply everything inside the parentheses by 100. So you just move the decimal over twice, move it over twice, move it over twice. So it's really just 2 times x minus 3 plus 104 equals 10,200. I'm going to do my distributive property. We'll combine like terms here. That makes 98 when I combine these. Subtract 98 from both sides. That's 10,102 divided by 2. Okay, let's see. 10,102 divided by 2. I'm thinking 5,051. Trying to save time for the video so you guys don't have to watch me divide. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. All right. That's it. So, independent practice, you have one with fractions, one with decimals. See how you do. If you have any questions, please let me know. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped. Get some practice in. Gradius out.